Rosy Hardy, Hardy's Cottage Garden Plants. We're in our Kedar tunnel here, which is where we do all of our propagation. We're in the process of doing a lot of collecting seeds and we're preparing them, ready to sow them. And also at this time of the year we're doing cuttings. Now cuttings can be of all sorts of types. They could be tip cuttings, basal cuttings, root cuttings, and we also do lots of minute splits which then have to go onto a mist unit. Now at this time of the year, we're talking about August here, it is your last chance to be able to do these fabulous plants, the penstemons, and you need to remember this is the last time that you really would be able to do them for you to have good plants for next year in the garden. Penstemons are a fantastic garden plant and they're something that we do a lot of varieties of here at Hardy's. This one is really good. This is Penstemon roseus and it grows in a slightly different way to other forms such as this beautiful little thing called Three Pink, which has tiny little flowers, very narrow foliage. Or you go on to what most people think of as being your standard garden penstemon with these beautiful big tubular flowers and standing up above a slightly broader foliage. This one is Penstemon Victoria Plum and she's a real queen. So they are excellent garden plants, but they all require slightly different treatment in the way of taking cuttings from them. This one, as you can see, is basal foliage and then the flowers come up really tall and they're fantastic orange colour. They're really fun plant, this one. Now these you take from basal cuttings and you would be taking your cutting down in here from a tiny little piece at the bottom. What you need to remember is when you're taking cuttings, have sharp snips or secateurs. So with this, you would take it and make sure there was a clean cut at the base and you would make sure those bottom leaves had fallen off. Now it's got an awful lot of foliage here which will lose moisture and you need to reduce that in half. So what you would do is you would take it and just cut it like so, and perhaps even more take the last couple of pair of leaves off there and you have a really decent cutting. Now for a different type of cutting, you've got your standard type of penstemons and these are done from tip cuttings. Now when the plant is as old as this, you need to make sure that you're using the really fresh stuff at the top. The best thing to do is not take your cutting straight from the top here. Go as though you're going to prune the plant and go halfway up. Now this is a nodal cutting, so you cut below a pair of leaves like so, and this is probably what most people would expect to take as a cutting. Now this is far too long. You must take it right up here. They are tip cuttings and they are called tip cuttings because that is what you are taking. You are taking the tip. You can see there is a bit of stem here and a little bit of leaf. That will take and root much easier than if you had kept it as your large cutting like this, which is what most people would do. Isn't there quite a bit of difference between what you would do and what we do here on the nursery? With tip cuttings, you need to be able to take the cutting from the top piece. If the material has become really solid and snaps like that and is really tough, that is not what you want to be taking. You want to be taking this bit of material here, which is beautifully flexible and young, and that is where you would be taking the tip cutting from. When you've done a small handful of cuttings, make sure you get them put into the seed trays or cell plugs like this very quickly so that you can get them onto your benches, or you can then water them and make sure that they stay turded. Make sure that they are actually pressed in quite nicely. Now most people at home would probably use a pot like this and it's exactly the same thing. You just make a hole and you push them in around the edge, leaving a little bit of a gap between each cutting so that you go through and try and do the same plant variety right the way through the whole lot. Now the one thing to say is that they will then sit there and be really good. I know I'm cheating here and I've put different varieties in there, but that gives you your nice cuttings put in, and then you would water them in well and put them into your propagator or wherever you have them in a cold frame. When you're taking cuttings, always remember to take the cuttings from really good, healthy plants. Take healthy material, good and young, but do not try and take cuttings from plants which look as though they're on their last legs and about to die. You will have no success. Healthy cuttings, healthy plants. When you have done your cuttings all around the edge of your pot, do not be tempted just because you've got one left over to stick it right in the middle there. That one is always the one that doesn't succeed. So just don't do it. Let the other ones go around the outside. You don't end up with a horrible rotten one in the middle. And always remember to label what you've done. When you come to watering your cuttings, make sure if you're using a watering can that you always start the water off outside the pot, then go carefully over the top, back over again, making sure that it's nicely watered, and stop it outside. Did you see how badly that dribbled out of the rose? If that had gone into your pot, your cuttings would be all over the place.